we got covered the Microsoft Entra, and of course we learned how we can start using the identities in Microsoft Entra, which is pretty simple and straightforward. But imagine the scenario where you have to start controlling, or you can say governing, these identities based on their responsibility, and that is exactly you need to understand how you're going to start working with them. I give you one example and that can help you to understand the controls that we are going to learn in this video. Of course, this is going to be a quick one because we have only 2 topics to cover today. So the first one we have is the conditional access. Let me make you understand why we need to think about the conditional access policies. Guys, see, conditional access, based on the names, we can easily understand this actually gives us all those kind of capabilities where we can start controlling the user. I'll give you one example. Let's say if somebody wants to access certain resource or a kind of a cloud application, but you want to block all the user from that particular one location. I give you just this is an example. So for that reason, you have to start implementing the conditional access, which means if a user try to access, as an example, Office 365 application, then of course they have to be aware that if they are logged in from India, they definitely won't allow to access that particular application, as an example. This is some kind of conditions comes from the organization and from the operation lead that we would like to set up for the organization and for the purpose for the enterprise. But apart from India, if anyone, I mean the user may be sitting in US, Australia, Japan, China, or maybe some other countries, in that case, if the users are trying to access the resource or the application, they are absolutely allowed. Then how you're going to start deploying those kind of solution, we are going to learn in this video based on the access control for the conditional access in Microsoft Entra. And we have another topic, the Azure policy, which is again pretty simple and straightforward. Now you want to start controlling a person who you don't want to create a virtual machine based on the condition that I have applied. Okay, I don't want any user to create the virtual machine with the higher range, means which has more powerful CPUs or RAM or maybe hard drive, because if you're trying to use those higher end virtual machines, that can cost a lot, and some people made sometimes mistakes while creating these kind of virtual machines, and how you can start controlling those kind of accessibility or a kind of a security control that you're going to learn in Azure policy. Hello guys, my name is Harshanga, and this is probably gonna be a last video for AZ-900, and this one can help you a lot in start controlling your identities in a various manner. Though obviously the theoretical concepts usually gonna be covered, but at least I'll show you how you can start implementing these both policies in an easy way so that you can remember where you have to go in the year of 2024 and how you can start applying the solution. So guys, let's begin. In today's world, the conditional access policies can help you to actually deploy the zero trust policy enforcement for the identities. What does it mean? Basically, conditional access is, these policies are nothing but just the if and then kind of implementation, and you can definitely enforce this on the user. As an example, at this moment, you can have this example right here on the screen, and let's say you are trying to access your policies from your mobile phone, and obviously you are sitting somewhere in the coffee and you are using internet connection. So this user is currently logged in from the outside network of your organization. Then what will happen for this particular user at that time? This guy has to follow forcefully, because the conditional access policy is being applied, and based on those policy is actually can send the request to the Microsoft Entra verify the identity, that is okay. There is no problem in verifying the identity. But like I said, there are certain conditions that I have applied for this user. Means if this user is trying to access from its mobile phone and obviously outside the organization network, in that case he has to follow the multi-factor authentication, and that is something is enforcing this user to do. If this user unable to do, then guys, simply the request will follow and block the access of that particular user. If this user is trying to follow the enforcement policy coming from Microsoft Entra as conditional access policy, then what will happen? This user will be allowed because this guy already follow multi-factor authentication, and it doesn't matter whether you are trying to access the cloud application or on-premises application, both will be allowed to access. Similarly, you can set multiple condition. Obviously, the signal is coming from a user. I mean, user can be logged in from anywhere. That is another thing. What kind of conditions he has to follow? Maybe you can select a certain user, which can be allowed or block. It's up to you. If there's a certain application, I already given you one example, like the Office 365 application. If somebody like this user now, let's say, is logged in from its organization, which is definitely a secure network, but still this guy is logged in from India as an example, I already given you. So like I said, if a person or a user logged in from India office, they can't access Office 365 application because that is exactly I have set up for this guy as a location. Right? You can absolutely set up an IP address as well if you are using a certain IP addresses and you want to allow certain and you want to block certain. You can certainly follow the conditional access policy to achieve that. In a very simple way, one last time, if you like to understand about the conditional access policy, is nothing but is like if a user wants to access, let's say, an application like Office 365 or any kind of services on the Microsoft, then of course it must perform the multi-factor authentication, and of course I can also block any of these access which definitely in my control. And you can see all these controls right in Microsoft Azure in just a minute, because I'll show you, I will explain you, and it can help you to overall understand about the conditional access policy. But like I said, is a zero trust policy settings, and it can help in a big way. So guys, let's see and learn more about conditional access policy without taking more time, because we already spent a basic understanding about the conditional access policy. And I will share an informational link as well in the description. You can go ahead and learn more about this from the Microsoft end. But overall, what I just explained is exactly the thing that you need to understand and you need to remember. So guys, let's go to Microsoft Azure. To enable the conditional access policy in Microsoft Entra, you have to go inside the Microsoft Entra ID. Once you go inside the Microsoft Entra ID, now the place is changed as compared to the last year where we used to configure the conditional access. The conditional access used to provide right here in the left hand side, but now it actually is a part of the security, like I said, zero trust enforcement policy. Then you have to go to the under security. Once you go under security, there's an option called conditional access. So you have to go here, and then you can start leveraging all the resources, all the detail and options available right here under this place. But yeah, before to getting started with the settings, that how you can start creating your own policy, you can get some overview that how many users been impacted. In fact, you can apply these settings for the devices and based on a certain conditions that I have already shown during the time of the explanation. And in terms of coverage, it can also show you that which application has been recently been tried and tested and how many users has been already covered or not covered. Means all those kind of a compliance coverage you can get right under this one. If you like to monitor, in fact, even more that in what particular date, what has been selected, which policy has been applied, and how many number of signs has been occurred, you can obviously can find easily from this place. But yeah, start with as an example. Let's go to the named location. At this moment you can see there is no named location is been configured, because the scenario is I like to block the user to access anything from India location. Okay, so let's go to the country's location and find, I just write down India country or India location, anything, that is all up to you, and I will definitely find India right here. I select the India and then click create. Very simple, because we have to configure name location. You can of course also select the IP address ranges. You can also go ahead and setting other things like authentication context like MFA and all that. So of course it's a part of the policies. You have to select which one you like to apply. Now let's go to the overview. Right now we have already configured the named location. Let's go to the create new policy. Guys, as soon as you type new policy, these are the conditions or the assignments that you can enable for the user. As an example, I said Office 365 policy, or of course block policy, anything you like to select. Then click on user. I will definitely like to apply for the enterprise, select all user or select certain users. I will select of course user and groups. You have to select from here. As an example, I select Chris. Click select. Once you have finished with this, that's good. Now, important thing is you have to of course select the target resource, means what exactly this user wants to access, that you want to proceed with the block or allow condition. Then you have to select an application. Click select none, and here you can find a number of applications available right under this place. So like I said, I have already mentioned and suggested you to try out with the Office 365. Select done, Office 365. Then we have not configured IP address, so I'm not going to select network. Let's go to the conditions. Now condition, if you have a more specific condition, you can read, or like maybe you are very much more specific about the devices. Okay, I want to allow or deny users to log in only from Windows operating system, or maybe from Mac OS only. That can help us to block or allowed. I mean, you can select all these policies based on your conditions and requirement. In the almost end, you have to click on, yeah, I don't want to configure anything here as an example. So click on grant. On the right hand side, you can select a block or grant. Of course, I like to block this user to access anything about this. So click select. Okay, block access. Session, no need to configure. Do you want to enable for the report only, or you want to enable? That is a kind of an enforcement, and I will select create. Now you can see there's a security details must be disabled to enable conditional access policy. Guys, this is a kind of a setting. Of course, I need to go back. This is a kind of a setting that you have to first disable on this, then only you can proceed with the implementation. And you can find these settings right under this properties, and there you can find security defaults, right? And click on manage security controls. Here is by default enabled. You have to select disable and make sure click why you wanna enable or disable. Then I can select, okay, I want to apply this conditional access. Yeah, my organization wants to enable the conditional access. Click save. Okay, are you sure? Yeah, absolutely okay. It's been saved. Now you can go back and of course create a new policy one more time. I will do it quickly. So Office 365 policy. User, my user was right now Chris. That's good. Click select, job done. Then you have to select the target resource that this user wants to access. Select application, select Office 365. Yeah, that's good. Click select whether you want to enable or disable. Obviously, I like to block this user at this moment. As soon as you click select, yeah, that's okay. On, create. Now wait for some time. It's currently validating, and once it is validated, it will start creating the policy for you. So it's so simple to create those policies, and you can get all the details about these policies right here. As you can see, we have just created this policy. Now guys, If you want to try, obviously I don't want to try, I want you to give this homework. Just do one thing, log in with the user that you have selected and just type in login.microsoftonline.com and log in with this user that we have selected for the policy, and you will see that your access will be restricted because of the policy, and you can find all the details right there in the the error message that you want to see. Obviously we have more better detail, much more details in the AZ-500, but yeah, this is a kind of a homework because we have absolutely done with the policy settings. Right now you just need to log in with the user and you can see the effect of this policy. That is how you can start managing the conditional access policy. I'm sure it's not a difficult one for you and it will be easy to configure, right? All right, so let's move to the last topic of the day, that is Azure Policy, and learn and understand how you can enable and assign those Azure Policy to govern your Microsoft Azure environment. During the initial explanation, I already gave you one example of Azure Policy. See, Azure Policy is doing the evaluation of all the resources and whatever the action that we are trying to perform, obviously that analyze by comparing all of the properties of the resources. Now, how it helps? Basically, it helps in the governance and the compliance. Unless the policy that we have applied does not follow all the steps that has to be mandatory, unless you are not able to perform that kind of action that you are, planning to do it basically in the Microsoft Azure. In other sense, let me explain to understand about this. See, if let's say I have an Azure policy for creating just on the allowed VMs, that is a very simple policy to make everything understand about this. So I have a condition about SKU, allowed virtual machine SKU, and I select, for example, B_1. I only want to allow to create B_1 virtual machines. That's it. And obviously I can apply that to all the identities that is available. Now, how it is going to help me, because I like to make sure my environment is in the compliant state or whatever been decided by the enterprise level on the all the operation leads and all the stakeholders, that hey, this is our limitation, this is what we are going to do, this is what we are going to build. Any user who has the complete access, even though they are trying to build a certain infrastructure which is not in the compliant manner, which is in the non-compliant, then obviously Azure Policy does not allow to create those kind of resources. Obviously we can set up the remediation plan, and obviously once it is compliant, and if somebody is trying to create a virtual machine with B_1 kind of SKU information, then absolutely there's no problem. The person will easily able to complete all of the steps. And like I said, it is not, these policies are not just a built-in policy, there are customized policy. You can also customize by your own under the Azure Policy. But the purpose of this one is to enforce the complete organization level, or on the resource group or maybe the management group level, that how you can apply those compliance control or that kind of a governance that you want to make sure that hey, everybody should follow those kind of instructions. Very simple, very straightforward, and so easy to deploy in the Microsoft Azure. So I hope you get this, and let's go to the Microsoft Azure to deploy so that it can make you even more understandable that how to start working with the Azure Policy, and it can help you to also clarify all the things that I have just explained in the theoretical concept. So guys, let's go to Azure Policy and try to learn more. So to enable the Azure Policy, you have to go to the policy steps. This is so simple. You can either identify, or you can simply just go to the Azure services and find the Azure Policy option. If you click on Azure Policy, simply you have to obviously can find out these are the default policies available on which it is applied, whether your devices, your resources been compliant or non-compliant. As you can see, it is non-compliant. You can go ahead and check more out about these non-compliant issue, but at this moment I like to tell you how you're gonna apply these policy on a certain subscription, management group, or the resource group. It's so simple. So for that, you have to go to the assignment. Just click on the assignment, and here you have to select assign policy. Like I said, so simple. Click on assign policy, and first step is you have to select where you want to apply this policy. I want to apply on the complete, this subscription, or you can choose a certain resource group. The choice is yours, because in the both of these scenario, you have to select the right option based on the requirement of the organization, because at this moment I like to definitely follow my whole subscription. You can select the individual resource group as well. If somebody trying to use that particular resource group, then you have to follow this Azure policy, something like that. I think you get my point. If you want to exclude something, like if you want to click here, you want to exclude, okay, I want to exclude HA resource group out of this, the complete subscription, you can also do that. Again, steps are in your control. First, you have to just give the name of the policy. I will give allowed SKUs for Harsh Arena. Oh, I'm so sorry. Allowed, policy definition. Sorry, it's not the policy name. The next is policy name. How stupid I am. I'm always doing these stupid things all the time. But anyway, let's go to the policy definition. Click on this ... the blue color sign, and on the right hand side you can find out both custom, these kind of policy, and the built-in policy. If you want to play with this, so I will say allowed virtual machine, right? So here it is so simple to, you can see easily, allowed virtual machine size SKUs. This is exactly I want to showcase. I click on this, click add. The next step, oh yeah, that's nice. Assignment name is the same. You can change, like for Harsh Arena, right? Sounds good. If you want to enable, disable, it's all up to you. You can also mention who actually been assigned this policy, which is gonna helpful a lot in the bigger enterprise and the organization, because otherwise it's very vague that who actually built this policy and who actually applied this policy. So instead of I will explain everything, I just like to take you to directly to the parameters. Here you have to select the SKUs, because like I said, you have certain SKUs. Okay, I like to build basic A0, basic A1, A2, A3, and A4. Means only these SKUs are allowed to be created, except that no other SKUs can be created based on this policy. Got it? So just close this, and I just click review and create. So it will say, okay, these are the settings. Harsh, do you want to enable or disable? All that kind of thing. I said, okay, let's create. So the policy is gonna be created, or will be created in a while. And if you want to test out, the process is so simple. So simply go back to home, because I'm currently logged in as a service administrator. Usually it is applied for, the other users. But anyway, let's try to create, let's go to the virtual machine. I'm sorry, not the users, and try to create the virtual machine. I hope this been applied already. If not, then you have to wait for some time and see if that works for you. I'll choose my this kind of thing, HA, and I'll type HA VM. After choosing the resource group, type the virtual machine name. The important step is the image, this size, right? So if I click here, you can see the all of the size, most of the sizes are not been available, because you can see blocked by policy, correct? So if you select here, you can see there is no size available right at this moment. But if I try to see, please show me something here. Okay, that's nice. Oh my god, why? Oh yeah, what's going on? Maybe oh yeah, finally. Anyway, so if you're trying to just try to connect with any other available sizes, let's say I'll select the bigger one, I select this one, and there's any option to select? No, I cannot select, right? Why? Because it's been blocked by my policy. If I select this one, no, it doesn't work for me. How about this? No. What about A? What about more? Oh yeah, retiring soon. That's not what we want. Guys, do you remember which one we had? Because I personally don't remember. Um, I don't remember. I'm so sorry. But anyway, you get my point. You just need to identify that this was the VM or allowed size. And of course, once you know which one is allowed to you, or if I can change it in the policy if I want to. But basically, you get my point. This is how you're gonna allowed or blocked your identification of your resources, because the parameters is been analyzed by the Azure policy, and that is how you are being controlled everything what is being done by all the users. So don't think it is not been completed. It is, this step is completed, but I was confused. I really don't remember what's the name of the but how about this? Let me go back and check this out, because maybe the virtual machine I have chosen is not good. And at this moment, compliance status is that's fine, 100% compliant, that's good. What about the size? Can I see, guys? Can I see? View assignment, that would be easy. In the assignment, do you see any? Oh yeah, there you go. Basic A0, A1, A2, A3, A4. Let's see if we have A0, though it is not possible, but let's see whether we have A0 or not. And in Central India, select the group. I gave VM-1. Let's try again, and I'm doing only this for you. Okay, so how about A? Oh yeah, not A is not been available. Block policy. Oh man, I mean all of these VMs which I can see. Let me try A0. How about that? How about A? Do we have any? Let me search, but it's all been blocked by this one, because the operating system we have chosen is not the correct one. As you can see, A0, A1, A2, A3. Where is A3? There's A3. Maybe you can find, but I think you get the whole thing here. Yeah, you can select, but maybe it's not a good idea to create the VM based on the CPU and the RAM is being chosen here, because minimum recommendation of the Windows 11 operating system is different, right? So Windows 11, but if I choose any other one, let's say how about not Oracle, let's talk about Ubuntu Server. No, okay, let's try Ubuntu Server. I don't know, but yeah, oh, size is not available again. What about A sizes? Again blocked. Maybe it could be blocked because it has a very low level RAM and not a good idea to proceed. Oh wow, yeah, if I select, because it won't allow me to select, it means it's been blocked by the Azure policy. But I think you get the whole idea that how this Azure policy works for the organization. So thank you so much guys for watching this video, and of course we have completed all the details about AZ-900, all the topics. Now you are absolutely free from my end to give the examination. I'm sure you will clear the examination, and you will also clear the interview if you know and have the complete knowledge of the topics that I have been shared in the AZ-900 certification. So at this moment, I would like you to just take care of yourself. Enjoy your day. I will definitely have a last message for you for the AZ-900, not for other certification. I wish and hoping that you will read my message. I'll see you in the next video for other certification like AZ-104 and AZ-500. I hope you learned something new today. If not, at least you get some idea now, even better, that how your conditional access and Azure policy works within the organization. So guys, one last time, I hope you find this video quite informative and helpful. I will see you in the next one. Till then, please take care of yourself. Take care. Bye-bye. Peace.